Oh, today we have a cold. So today, a Bob Marley day. I was touched last night by memories of Tarzan. I had long before. I saw a movie where it all goes wrong, like movies often will. The notion of nature speaking, the animals speaking to me in the faraway days in the West Indies where I was made. Though I had begun in the earth of England, the soil, the smell of her so distinct, you know it every spring among the honeysuckle, something calling me of Robin Hood. Before, as I said, someone pretended to show me the picture. The mere propaganda, an invasion of what I knew better, because an archetype had wakened in my forest escapes at 3 or 5. I knew these boys before I encountered their clumsy sketches by the frock coated and strangled. Before I breathed, it felt like I was hugging the tree and listening. There's a roar going on, a buzz of living, the sound of a roar that could drown the whole world. Funny, almost impatient buzzing, like elves screaming at the fairies to tell the big brutes to stop stomping. They are crushing life with every step and they are not listening. The listening brain doesn't judge like the seeing one, the judgmental one, listening and feeling so close, like smell and taste, the cataclysmic bass thud. Then I woke up or was invaded by consciousness and seeing, which is the same. And I missed the winding mossy ways for as little time as possible. He was framed by the forest, it is said, Robin Hood. He came out of it to do his deeds, then disappeared back into its darkness. It was said, too, that the forest was feared by man. Well, by some of them, the place of demons and robbers, bears and lions. That is where Robin went with his merry men, it is said. And Tarzan, too, goes back. Tarzan needs to. He was reared in it. Did Robin discover something there? Some dark, reassuring dream. There's a story about one of the historical Robin possibilities, 14th century, that he was favored by a lord and given a classy job in his retinue, but after some months lost his enthusiasm because depressed, and then went back to the forest. I had never heard of 14th century depression before. It would explain so much. The depressed man instinctively goes back to the wild. These stories caught in my imagination today. What do they say about, say, Christ in the wilderness, where he meets Satan high on fasting because he is high? Does he meet him? Tarzan and Robin Hood, it will be said, were made up fiction, but fiction is more useful than you know, than fact. You should know by now the expression of myth, the unconscious truths guide us more than any leader, teacher, culture, or civilization. If you are annoyed about how led other people are, how gullible, you are probably avoiding how led you are, how your unconscious needs are being fulfilled. Navalny, after all, was handsome. The collective modifies us, moderates and compromises us. It should. It is its function to take the edge off. So good plan. Enter the collective as fully realized as you can be. Don't expect the collective to provide realization for you. They will serve up something and you will be swallowed up by it. You will be a Western of churches or parties. Against my head they bang every day. Go into the wilderness. Find the stuff that hangs from trees there and come back with your new name. And when needed, go again. When I'm in the darkness, why must you intrude? The poet asks. These chaps were disappearers. Were they complainers like me and Hamlet, or no? Because they knew where to go like poets do, where to find the cable or the vine or web charged with volts of existence to clutch it. So the Bob Marley. I was hearing about Labour MPs who had gone Tory. it seemed strange. Then I thought it was personal, that being an MP was an ambition, like being a star, that a likely lad with the gift of gab would hitch his horse, her horse, to the likeliest wagon. And since the present Labour Party seems pretty Tory, perhaps this makes sense. Perhaps the breed of politicians are like senior class presidents in high school. Am I popular? I don't see why it wasn't ever thus, except every now and then Tony Benn. Bob Marley, dead by 36, according to him and many around, was a primarily spiritual man, a Rasta from ever since. Should I believe him, them, or would he have become a Mormon with a record deal, like the Labour Tory man? I do believe him, like Robin and Tarzan and Tony Benn and Germaine Greer and Rosa Luxemburg, real and not so. Bob Marley was from the country. Did he go back to replenish, or did he see it everywhere, or in the weed? Draw the sustenance of solitude. I don't expect he or they were tempted. I don't think Jesus was either. I think Satan was just saying his piece, maybe jealous, but not stupid enough to think Jesus would say, oh yeah, give me the gold. Perhaps the fishermen would have been tempted, the money changers for sure, so the story makes good. Ooh, we say, how he resisted, we think, but I think Jesus liked the desert and the high that fasting brings. Like Lawrence had a thing for pain. It provoketh visions. Tarzan had his tea and crumpets, but went home. Yes, these chaps could sit by a fire and sing a common song, or write like the Bobs, Marley and Dylan, or incant it like hymns. The thing is, Prometheus, if we all stepped up and didn't ask so much of you, what would you do? Seek out another God's law to break? Be assured we are not that brave. Your place remains, your chains, your eagle and your crag. Would you give it up? Climb down from the cross? Is it your price of fame, or stealer of the flame? Oh, stealer of the flame, or were you just bored and open to another God? Or are you just not thinking like the thinkers do about hope and despair? Just doing like Julian Assange? Do we allow he could go Tory, as Eldridge Cleaver went Christian? Or was Eldridge always so? And then, of course, there was Lawrence. I have no particular admiration for these fellows, these trundlers in the wilderness, though I might have done when I was young. It is the wilderness itself that I admire, and their secret. I asked my father one time how he thought of the desert, and he said, I love it, quite fiercely. He was a cultured doctor trained in London who longed to be savage, not bloody, just savage in the Rousseau sort of a way. He was Lawrence, but he did not go, except to Iraq, which he loved, as he said.